Hello, how is everyone doing? I'm Dr. William Kobayashi, specialist in urology and integrative medicine. Every single day, I receive messages from men who tell me they are desperately trying to manage their enlarged prostate symptoms. The constant nighttime trips to the bathroom, the weak urine stream, the feeling that their bladder never fully empties, the embarrassing urgency that interrupts their daily life. They have tried medications that come with a long list of side effects. They have tried supplements that promised everything and delivered nothing. And many of them have simply accepted this condition as an unavoidable part of getting older, believing there is nothing natural that can truly make a difference. If this sounds familiar, I want you to know something important right now. You are not alone and you are not out of options. The problem is not your age. The problem is not that natural solutions don't work. The problem is that most men have never been told about the specific plant-based compounds that clinical research has shown repeatedly and consistently to reduce prostate inflammation, support healthy hormone balance, and relieve the urinary symptoms associated with benign prostatic hyperplasia, what doctors call BPH. Today, I'm going to share with you three powerful herbal teas that have real, peer-reviewed scientific evidence supporting their ability to reduce prostate enlargement and relieve symptoms. And when prepared and consumed correctly, many men begin to notice meaningful improvements in as little as 7 days. Not because these teas are magic, but because the active compounds in these plants work directly on the biological mechanisms responsible for prostate swelling and inflammation. But before I continue, I want to ask you something important. Are you currently experiencing symptoms of an enlarged prostate, such as frequent urination at night, a weak or interrupted urine stream, or difficulty starting to urinate? And if so, have you already tried any natural remedies or herbal approaches? I would genuinely love to hear your experience in the comments below, because understanding what my community is going through helps me create content that actually addresses your real needs. Please share your story. It means a lot to me, and it might help another man reading your comment as well. Now, if you find this information valuable, and I believe you will, please take a moment right now to like this video and subscribe to the channel, activating the notification bell. Every week, I publish evidence-based content on men's health, prostate care, and natural approaches to common conditions that affect millions of men worldwide. I don't want you to miss a single video. Let's get started. The first tea is saw palmetto tea, Serenoa repens. And I want to start with this one because it has, without question, the most robust body of scientific evidence of any natural compound studied for prostate health. Saw palmetto has been used for centuries by indigenous peoples of North America for urinary and reproductive health, but it is only in the past several decades that researchers have begun to truly understand why it works, and the mechanisms are fascinating. The primary active compounds in saw palmetto are fatty acids and plant sterols, particularly beta-cytosterol. These compounds work by inhibiting the enzyme called 5-alpha reductase. Now, this is critically important for you to understand. The enzyme 5-alpha reductase converts testosterone into a much more potent androgen called dihydrotestosterone, or DHT. DHT is the primary hormonal driver of prostate cell proliferation. In other words, DHT is one of the main reasons your prostate grows larger as you age. By blocking 5-alpha reductase, saw palmetto reduces DHT levels within prostate tissue, which directly counteracts the hormonal stimulus for prostate enlargement. A landmark meta-analysis published in the Journal of the American Medical Association reviewed 18 randomized clinical trials involving nearly 3,000 men and concluded that saw palmetto significantly improved urinary symptom scores and peak urinary flow rates compared to placebo. The improvement in urinary flow was particularly impressive, comparable in many cases to the results seen with the pharmaceutical drug finasteride, but without the sexual side effects that finasteride commonly causes. A more recent study published in the European Urology Journal followed men taking saw palmetto extract for 12 months and documented measurable reductions in prostate volume as assessed by ultrasound, alongside significant improvements in quality of life scores related to urinary symptoms. Here is something extremely important I want you to know about this first tea. Saw palmetto also has meaningful anti-inflammatory properties. Chronic low-grade inflammation within the prostate gland is now recognized as a major contributor to BPH progression. The fatty acids in saw palmetto inhibit inflammatory pathways, including the cyclooxygenase and lipoxygenase pathways, reducing the production of pro-inflammatory molecules that contribute to prostate swelling and irritation. To prepare saw palmetto tea correctly, you want to use dried saw palmetto berries or high-quality dried berry powder. Place 1 teaspoon of dried berries or half a teaspoon of berry powder in a cup of hot water, not boiling but hot, around 85 to 90 degrees Celsius. Allow it to steep for 10 to 15 minutes with a cover on the cup to prevent the loss of volatile compounds through steam. Strain and drink. For optimal results, consume 1 cup in the morning and 1 cup in the early evening. It is important to note that saw palmetto is fat soluble, meaning its active compounds absorb better when consumed with food that contains some fat. Even a small handful of almonds or a drizzle of olive oil will significantly enhance absorption. Now I want to ask you directly, had you ever heard of saw palmetto before watching this video? Did you know it worked this specifically on the hormone responsible for prostate growth? Leave me your answer in the comments. I truly want to know how many of you are already familiar with this plant versus discovering it for the first time today. The second tea is stinging nettle tea, Urtica dioica. And this is the tea that surprises men the most because most people know stinging nettle only as an annoying weed that causes skin irritation when touched in the garden. What very few people know is that stinging nettle root contains some of the most bioactive compounds ever studied for prostate health, and the scientific evidence supporting its use is genuinely impressive. Stinging nettle root works through several distinct and complementary mechanisms. First, it inhibits sex hormone binding globulin, or SHBG. SHBG is a protein in your blood that binds to testosterone and makes it biologically unavailable. When SHBG binds too much testosterone, the relative balance shifts toward estrogen, and elevated estrogen levels in men are strongly associated with prostate enlargement. By inhibiting SHBG, nettle root helps maintain a healthier androgen to estrogen ratio, creating a hormonal environment less favorable to prostate growth. Second, stinging nettle root contains compounds that directly inhibit prostate cell proliferation. A study published in Phytomedicine demonstrated that nettle root extract inhibited the growth of human prostate cells in culture, suggesting a direct anti-proliferative effect independent of its hormonal actions. Third, nettle root has demonstrated anti-inflammatory activity by inhibiting nuclear factor kappa B, or NFKB, which is one of the most important master switches for inflammation in the human body. Suppressing NFKB reduces the production of inflammatory cytokines within prostate tissue. A randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled clinical trial published in the Journal of Herbal Pharmacotherapy enrolled 620 men with symptomatic BPH and treated them with stinging nettle root extract for 6 months. The results showed statistically significant improvements in the International Prostate Symptom Score, the standard clinical tool for measuring BPH severity, compared to placebo. Men in the treatment group reported fewer nighttime urinations, stronger urine flow, and greater bladder emptying. Importantly, the treatment was extremely well tolerated, with no significant adverse effects. Another study compared stinging nettle root to the pharmaceutical drug tamsulosin, one of the most prescribed medications for BPH, and found comparable improvements in urinary symptom scores after 12 weeks, but with a far superior side effect profile. This is remarkable. A natural plant showing results comparable to a prescription medication, but without the dizziness, retrograde ejaculation, and other side effects that tamsulosin commonly causes. To prepare stinging nettle root tea correctly, use dried nettle root, not the leaves, the root. This is an important distinction. The leaves have different properties and are used for different purposes. Place 1 tablespoon of dried nettle root in 2 cups of cold water, bring it slowly to a gentle boil, then reduce heat and simmer for 15 minutes. Remove from heat, allow it to steep for an additional 10 minutes, then strain. This decoction method, simmering rather than steeping, is important for nettle root because it extracts the complex polysaccharides and lectins that are responsible for its prostate effects. Drink 1 cup twice daily, preferably between meals. I want to pause here and ask you something that I think is really important. Do you regularly see your doctor for prostate health checkups? Many men avoid these appointments due to embarrassment or fear, but early monitoring is truly one of the most important things you can do for your long-term health. Please tell me in the comments, when was the last time you had your prostate checked? Your answer might encourage another man reading this to finally make that appointment. The third tea is green tea, Camellia sinensis, with a specific preparation protocol. Now you might be thinking, green tea? That is something I have heard of before. And yes, green tea is well known for its general health benefits. But what most people do not know is the specific and targeted research that has been done on green tea's effects on prostate tissue, and it is extraordinary. The primary active compounds responsible for green tea's prostate benefits are catechins, particularly a compound called epigallocatechins 3 gallate, or EGCG. EGCG is one of the most studied natural compounds in biomedical research, and its effects on prostate tissue are remarkably well characterized. EGCG works against prostate enlargement through at least 5 distinct mechanisms. It inhibits 5-alpha reductase, the same enzyme that saw palmetto targets, reducing DHT production within prostate tissue. It suppresses the aromatase enzyme, which converts testosterone to estrogen, helping to maintain a healthy hormonal balance in men. It has potent anti-inflammatory effects, inhibiting multiple inflammatory signaling pathways simultaneously. It induces apoptosis, programmed cell death, in overgrown prostate cells, helping to reduce the actual number of cells contributing to prostate enlargement. And it inhibits angiogenesis, the formation of new blood vessels that would otherwise support continued prostate tissue growth. A remarkable study published in Cancer Prevention Research followed men with high-grade prostatic intraepithelial neoplasia, a precancerous prostate condition, who consumed green tea catechins daily for 1 year. Not only did the green tea group show significantly lower rates of prostate cancer progression compared to placebo, but men in the treatment group also showed significant improvements in their urinary symptoms and reductions in prostate-specific antigen levels. Another clinical trial published in Prostate Cancer and Prostatic Diseases specifically examined men with symptomatic BPH and found that daily green tea catechin supplementation for 6 months produced significant improvements in urinary flow rate, reductions in post-void residual urine volume, the amount of urine left in the bladder after urinating, and improvements in quality of life scores. Population-based research has also been highly informative. Epidemiological studies consistently show that men in Japan and China, where green tea consumption is highest in the world, have significantly lower rates of clinically significant BPH and prostate cancer compared to men in Western countries with low green tea consumption. While these population studies cannot prove causation alone, they strongly support the mechanistic and clinical trial evidence. Here is the critical part that most people miss about green tea for prostate health. Preparation method matters enormously. To maximize EGCG extraction, you must use water that is between 70 and 80 degrees Celsius, never boiling water, as temperatures above 85 degrees Celsius destroy EGCG and other catechins. Steep for exactly 3 to 5 minutes. Using higher quality loose leaf green tea, such as Japanese sencha or matcha, significantly increases catechin content compared to standard tea bags. Drink 3 cups daily, ideally 30 minutes after meals. A small amount of lemon juice added to your cup dramatically increases catechin bioavailability by protecting the compounds from degradation in your digestive system. This is a simple trick that can increase the amount of EGCG your body actually absorbs by up to 6 times. And here is something fascinating I want you to know about combining these 3 teas. Research on herbal synergy has shown that the combination of saw palmetto, stinging nettle root, and green tea produces effects that are greater than any single herb used alone. A clinical study published in BMC Urology used a combination product containing all 3 of these herbal extracts and found superior improvements in symptom scores, urinary flow rates, and quality of life compared to historical data from trials using single herbs. This synergistic relationship is one of the reasons that men who incorporate all 3 teas into their routine typically report faster and more comprehensive symptom relief. Now I want to give you 5 crucial principles for maximizing the results from these 3 teas. First, consistency above everything else. These teas must be consumed daily without gaps. The active compounds in medicinal herbs work by gradually modulating enzymatic activity, hormonal balance, and inflammatory pathways. These are slow biological processes. You will begin to notice improvements in urgency and nighttime frequency within the first 7 days for most men, but the structural changes in the prostate, actual reduction in size, take 8 to 12 weeks of consistent daily use to become significant. Missing days resets much of your progress. Second, hydration strategy matters. Many men with prostate symptoms instinctively reduce their water intake, thinking this will reduce their trips to the bathroom. This is actually one of the most counterproductive things you can do. Concentrated urine irritates the prostate and bladder. Drink adequate water throughout the day, approximately 8 glasses, but reduce your fluid intake in the 2 to 3 hours before bedtime. This simple timing adjustment alone can reduce nighttime urination significantly. Third, optimize your diet alongside these teas. Certain foods actively worsen prostate inflammation and counteract the benefits of these teas. Red meat consumed in excess, dairy products high in saturated fat, refined sugar, alcohol, and highly processed foods all promote the inflammatory and hormonal conditions that drive prostate enlargement. Focus on increasing your intake of tomatoes and tomato-based products, which are rich in lycopene, one of the most researched compounds for prostate health. Include pumpkin seeds, zinc-rich foods, and cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and cauliflower, which contain compounds that favorably influence estrogen metabolism. Fourth, physical activity is not optional. sedentary lifestyle is independently associated with worsening BPH symptoms. Regular moderate exercise, even 30 minutes of brisk walking 5 times per week, has been shown in multiple studies to reduce prostate symptom scores by approximately 25% over 6 months. Exercise reduces systemic inflammation, improves hormonal balance, and promotes healthy pelvic circulation, all of which directly support prostate health. Fifth, monitor your response. Keep a simple log. A notes app on your phone is enough. Tracking how many times you urinate at night, your subjective assessment of your urine stream strength, and any urgency episodes. This gives you concrete data to track your progress and helps you and your doctor assess how well these interventions are working for your specific situation. Before I finish today, I want to address two things that I often see men doing that completely undermine their prostate health efforts, even when they are doing everything else right. The first is chronic stress. I know this sounds like general health advice, but it is specifically relevant to your prostate. Chronic psychological stress elevates cortisol levels persistently. Elevated cortisol disrupts hormonal balance, accelerates the conversion of testosterone to DHT through stress-related enzymatic changes, and dramatically increases systemic inflammation. All of these effects directly worsen BPH. Stress management is therefore not a luxury. It is a fundamental component of prostate health. Even 10 minutes of deep breathing exercises or meditation each morning has been documented to measurably reduce inflammatory markers. The second is sleep deprivation. Men who consistently sleep fewer than 6 hours per night show significantly higher rates of BPH progression compared to men who sleep 7 to 8 hours. Sleep is when your body conducts its most important tissue repair and anti-inflammatory processes. If you are not protecting your sleep, you are working against every other effort you are making for your prostate. Now I want to ask you one final question that I think is the most important one of the entire video. Which of these 3 T's are you going to start with? Are you going to begin with saw palmetto because you want to address the hormonal driver of prostate growth directly? Are you going to start with stinging nettle root because the evidence comparing it to pharmaceutical results impressed you the most? Or are you going to begin with green tea because you want that powerful EGCG protection that works through 5 different mechanisms simultaneously? Write your answer in the comments. I genuinely read every single response, and your engagement helps this channel reach more men who need this information but have not yet found it. And please tell me, from which country are you watching this video right now? Whether you are in the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom, Australia, Mexico, Spain, Brazil, Argentina, Colombia, India, the Philippines, or anywhere else in the world, I want to know, because it gives me tremendous joy and motivation to connect with men from so many different countries who share the same goal of protecting and improving their health naturally. And one more thing before I close. What other topics related to men's health and prostate wellness would you like me to cover in upcoming videos? Would you like me to go deeper on specific minerals for prostate health, such as zinc and selenium? Should I cover the role of specific foods that actively shrink the prostate? Would you like a video on prostate massage techniques, pelvic floor exercises, or understanding your PSA test results? Tell me what you need. Your requests directly shape the content I create, and I want every video I publish to be exactly what you need to hear. If this video was useful to you, please share it with a father, brother, friend, or colleague who may be struggling silently with prostate symptoms. Men often do not talk about these issues, even when they are seriously affecting their quality of life. Your share might be exactly the information that helps someone finally find relief. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell so you never miss a new video. I am Dr. William Kobayashi, and I will see you in the next video. Take care of yourself and take care of your prostate.